Welcome to Granny Shifting. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Jason.
And this is minute 40 of Fast 5.
Ladies and gentlemen, hey, it's Jesse from the original Fast and the Furious, and you're listening to Granny Shifting, the Fast and Furious podcast.
And today we are drinking a cup of donkey semen.
Oh boy, you didn't tell me about this.
Just kidding. We're not.
Where'd you get it?
It's
How
just
did you get it?
Miller Lite, but that's what we call it.
Yeah, oh, clever. The can is white.
This episode is brought to you in part by Miller Lite, a fine Pilsner beer. Drink when
Probably
the
made in
letters
Milwaukee.
turn blue.
Brewed with the highest quality ingredients. They use the choice hops from the Pacific Northwest as well as Noble Saaz hops and deliver more taste, aroma, and only color with 96 calories per 12 ounces. I don't know if I read that right. It didn't sound like a sentence.
If you're looking for a fine Pilsner beer, grab a Miller Lite.
That's right. You can drink them all night and not get dehydrated or a buzz.
Yeah, that's what we like about it. We like the taste. And now back to the minute. So we get Dom talking about his dad. He says he remembers everything about his father.
Yeah. Like weird flex. Yeah, I remember everything.
Yeah, I have a perfect memory. That's why he didn't need help me with my homework like my dummy sister.
Yeah.
She was so bad at school.
She needed hours of help.
Luckily, she was pretty.
Yeah. And he really, what a unique memory. Because it just so happens Brian has the literal opposite memory.
That's just it. I don't remember poop about my dad. So he goes on to talk about how he doesn't remember.
He says, I don't remember him yelling. Which I'm like, sounds like maybe you do remember him yelling. Because why is it the first thing you went to?
Well, I think it was just to be like, he wasn't a bad dad. Like, it wasn't like he traumatized me by yelling at me like we do our kids. Yesterday was Maggie's birthday. Or yesterday was my daughter's birthday.
Yeah. Okay.
Her name, we'll say it's Maggie, just for sake of privacy.
To make it easier to talk about.
Right.
Give her the name Maggie.
And the whole day was great. There was a little bit in the middle where she cried about something.
Getting yelled at, I think.
No, it's because we didn't let her do something. She was mad at my wife. She goes, "No, you made me sad." And she went and cried in her room for like 5 or 10 minutes. But then, which is pretty normal, that's a normal kid. But then, so at the end of the day, it's bedtime. They've had a great day. How's your day? It was so good. It was the best day ever. And then they just like refuse to go to bed. And you like try everything you can do.
And trying to stay patient.
2 girls in the one room, and like the one's keeping the other one awake. And it's always the other one's fault. And, I can't sleep. And
you keep coming out.
Yeah. And so by the end, you're like, you need to stay in your bed, getting loud with them, getting, dad voice with them.
Right.
And then it just like ruins, in my mind, it just ruins the whole taste
vibe
of the day. Just like the day ends, like you go to sleep, and the last thing that I said to you was, good night, I love you. You know what I mean?
And then you like finally get them to bed, and then you sit down on the couch with your wife, and you're both irritated.
Right.
That's your relaxing evening. Then.
Right. And then the last thing they remember is you getting angry at them for not listening, even though the whole day was good memories. But it's just it's her birthday. Don't yell at her. I can be a good father for one day.
Well, what I was thinking too, like when your kid's an adult, if they're like, I remember everything about my dad. Be like, oh shit.
I hope not.
Yeah, I hope not.
Yeah. So that's what I think about. Like,
Only
I'm
the good
hoping,
stuff.
like, because if you talk to your kid the next day, and you said, "What do you remember about going to bed last night?" They'd be like, "I don't know."
Right.
They just like, I don't.
Well,
did my parents never yell, or do I just not remember it?
I don't know if your parents didn't yell.
Did your parents yell?
My dad didn't yell. My mom, she
got loud sometimes.
Yeah, she got pretty loud.
Yeah. Which is ironic
because I remember she would then she would yell at my dad then because she's like, "Why do I always have to be the mean parent?"
Yeah.
And my dad's just like, My dad is like maybe one of the most easygoing people.
Yeah. Have you seen him get mad? Like either at work or at a softball game at a bad ump call, or that's what I picture
No.
your dad. Like that's when he'd get mad.
He loves when people get worked up at softball games. But
Really?
he's just smiling and like see what I've come to realize is my dad loves drama. He just doesn't want to be involved in it.
Yeah.
But he'll instigate it like crazy and then just sit back and sort of be entertained by it. One time I wasn't quite mad, but I remember it really caught me off guard. A guy that was working with us, Jay, you know him.
Yeah.
He called me a loser as
yeah.
I messed him up, and he was like, "Loser!" And my dad turned to him and was like, "Don't ever call my son a loser." And I was just like, "Oh, like I think it was a joke, Dad. Why are you so sensitive
You
about
weren't
that?"
like, he stood up for me. What a guy.
Well, I was like, "Oh wow," but I was
Yeah.
like, "Boy, he like
he got
turned
serious
and
quick.
got real serious." I was like, "Don't call my son a loser."
I remember him.
Oh.
Maybe he wasn't mad.
It
Maybe
didn't
he was
offend me
just
because
like,
I don't think I'm a loser, Dad.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But now I'm starting to question. Anyway.
we said, or I remember him getting. I don't remember him being mad. I remember him telling us that we should not have rode three-wheeler
Oh.
in the neighbor's muddy cornfield.
In the cornfield was
But
muddy.
I
and we
don't
were, like,
remember his like tone. I just remember him. I
He's
remember
pretty
we got in
irritated about
trouble
that.
for it.
Yeah, he was pretty. Yeah, that'd be one
And
time.
Did you call and apologize?
He threatened that, and I was like deathly terrified of that. And
Yeah.
I never ended up having to do it.
Okay.
But I was like, oh no, I
Yeah.
don't want to. You're gonna call the farmer and apologize for tearing up their field. I don't think anything was planted.
No,
We
the
were in
corn
the
was
maybe
down.
there was, but it was in the water. We like made ruts and stuff in
Yeah.
the mud with a 3-wheeler. But
A tractor's a lot heavier. Just saying.
yeah.
But
I remember one time my sister was showing me Salad Fingers, classic cartoon. If you haven't watched it, definitely got to go watch it.
Yeah.
One of OG Internet's greatest hits. If you're looking for one of those, like, oh, what am I watching?
yes, what am I watching?
And I remember my younger sister was showing it to me, and we're sitting there like, oh, laughing because it's weird.
Yeah.
And my dad is standing behind us, and after the video goes over, he says, "Don't ever watch that in my house again." And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
It definitely has creepy vibes.
Yeah. Like something something it feels like you shouldn't like
Like
you
the-
wouldn't show it at church.
No. Or recommend it on a podcast.
I remember one time my dad had a similar thing where I went to watch I think it was Too Fast, Too Furious.
Mm.
And I didn't ask it was a PG-13 movie. I was in middle school. So I don't think you had to like prove that you were old enough to watch PG-13 movies, right? Anyone could watch a PG-13 movie. You didn't
Yeah.
need like a
No,
parent
I
with
don't-
you.
I don't
I went
know.
with a friend to go see it. And then we got back, my dad found out that I'd watched it. And he's like, no, would you want to sit here and explain to me every scene of that movie? I'm like, no, like immediately, like all the like
The
bad
kissing, yeah.
scenes, you know, from that movie. And that was like, he was upset with me for watching that movie.
That's interesting. I do remember one time with your dad, we were watching an R-rated movie upstairs, and he came up and was like, "What's this rated?"
Yeah.
And you're like, "R," and he's like,
We
He got-
weren't allowed.
he got
to have
very
R-rated
angry.
movies. Yeah.
but he was so calm
Yeah.
that I was like, "Is he upset?" And you're like, "He is very upset right now."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh," but he stayed calm. He didn't yell at all.
Even when he found cigarettes in my glove box. It's funny because I have bought maybe 2 packs of cigarettes in my life,
Okay.
and they were in my glove box. They were Camel number 9s. They were like in an all black box with like it was like a cool looking box. So that's why I
Okay.
got them. Like I don't know.
Yeah, we're not cigarette connoisseurs.
No, not at all. But I was obviously old enough to have them because I bought them.
Right.
But I was still living at home. And my dad, I think, had renewed my car's registration for me and was putting it in the glove box for me. So he's like doing this super nice thing for me. And then saw my cigarettes in there. And he said, if you can afford cigarettes, you can afford your own car insurance. You can afford your own electricity. You can afford your own. I'm like,
Oh no. Hey, that's a
Like
good.
if you would have opened
tactic.
it up, you would have seen 2 cigarettes missing out of it. But yeah, I didn't buy cigarettes again.
You know, my
still have
parents also found a cigarette and rolling papers. in my room, and they sat me down, like, we found that this was like a hand-rolled cigarette.
Is it after we bought the buglers?
No.
Oh, okay.
Okay, just a hand-rolled cigarette and rolling papers. If you're gonna roll, like, I think they sell them to roll your own cigarettes, but people actually use them to, like, for joints,
Yeah.
weed. And they were like, we found this in your room. And I was like, yeah, that was in the magic kit you guys bought me at a yard sale because one of the tricks requires a cigarette. And they're like, oh, really? I'm like, yes. I go, okay.
But I remember buying you a 50 pack of Black and Milds.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah.
It was like a big square box.
Oh.
Maybe it was 25. It was a lot of Black and Milds for your birthday.
Yeah.
And you put it in your room and it went missing and you never found
Right.
it.
Yeah. We never.
You think they just found it and they just took it all?
So I would have been 19 at the time.
Yeah, if I could buy it, yeah.
They just went missing. And I thought at some point they'd bring it up to me.
Because I think I bought you a pipe too. Did I buy you a pipe? Because there was like a tobacco shop right down the road from where Mel
my
lived.
pipe and my Black and Milds just went missing, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to ask my parents what happened to them, but they never brought that up.
Yeah,
but they did bring up the rolling papers, which was pretty funny because it did make me. I'm like, you guys actually gave those to me, so
was there tobacco in it?
In the fake, it wasn't a fake cigarette. It was short. It was like 2 inches long, like rolled, and the ends are like twisted.
Yeah,
like a hand-made cigarette.
But why papers?
Did have tobacco.
You were supposed to make more of them?
I don't know. Like they were in the magic. Like it was one of those magic boxes that has like hundreds of tricks, and there's like all these different things in it.
Right.
And I think there's like tricks you use a cigarette for, and for whatever reason, that's the one that was in there. But I don't know.
That's funny.
So anyway, that's our memories of our dads.
Those are the only times I got upset.
But Brian, he says, to be honest with you, I don't remember even what he looked like. I don't remember.
He just wasn't there.
Was never there.
Mm.
And Dom just stares at him. What do you think Dom's thinking right now?
What do you think is worse? Having a dad that's present and a bad father, or having a dad that's not there? Like, would you rather have memories of your dad verbally assaulting you and possibly physically abusing the wall close to you?
Yeah.
Or your dad was just not even there?
Yeah, I don't know. It'd be better to ask somebody that had either of those things.
Yeah.
But I feel like as a kid, especially a son, you look up to your dad, and your dad's like your hero. Even if he's a terrible guy, I feel like you hear that all the time.
Yeah.
Which is why kids turn out bad. But if he's not there at all, then you look outside for your heroes and stuff. I don't know.
Like, if your dad's there and he's not good, then either you're like, okay, well, this is how you be a man.
Right. I don't know that you even
or you
realize
look at
it's
it and
not
you're
good.
like, this is the opposite of what I want to do.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to be a good father.
I would think it's worse to have a bad father present, probably because I don't think a child is able to realize that it's bad. Because in your mind, your father's this great person.
Right.
But it might seem worse to have no dad. As a kid, it might feel worse. That's what I'm going with.
Yeah.
It'd be, as a child, it'd feel better to have a bad dad than no dad. But as the way you turn out as a human, it'd probably be a little better to have no dad. But it probably then also depends a lot on your mom.
Yeah, very true. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. So.
And if she was good, why'd he leave her in the first place? So,
right. Yeah.
He
couldn't
her
handle
fault.
it.
It's probably her fault.
He couldn't handle the crying and the diapers.
Just kidding. But it does look like Brian's about to cry in this scene.
Yeah.
It's very emotional.
He's thinking, like, I'm in this life where I'm on the run. I'm about to be a dad, and I don't have a home.
My dad failed me.
Right. I don't want to be that same mess for my kid. I don't want my kid to be born and raised into this life of like.
And he admits this
criminal.
He admits these like deep feelings to Dom, and now he's sitting with this like blank look on his face, which to me is this like, I'm not gonna cry.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
Deep breaths. You know.
Yeah.
And Dom's like,
He said, that ain't going to be you, Brian.
yeah. So Dom leans over to the window and looks in at his sister sleeping on this weird chair.
Yeah, it's like the chair that they give the dads to sleep on.
That's what I was thinking. At the hospital?
At the hospital.
But like an older version, because it has that like green fabric.
Yeah.
It's like real itchy kind of.
Yeah.
And bally.
Yeah.
They call it pilled. It's like pilled real hard and
Yeah.
itchy. Okay, right here. Stop. I took a film class in college. Not like how to make films, but how to interpret films. And they
like film, like movies.
Movies.
Okay.
So we watch movies and then talk about why the director did this. So this would be one that they were like, oh, this is super intentional. So they now show Dom looking through the window, but it's from inside the house and it's a barred window. And it honestly kind of ruined movies for a while for me, because then I'm like overthinking all this little stuff.
Right.
So they'd be like, see, they're showing Dom looking through these bars, like he's behind bars and he feels like he's in prison in his life. Like there's this deeper meaning. And sometimes I'm like, maybe the house just had bars on the window.
Right.
And I just want to watch it, enjoy it. And if my body picks it up subconsciously, cool. But like to think like, oh, are they trying to tell us that Dom feels trapped or he feels locked out? Maybe they're saying that now Brian and Mia have a family and Dom's separated from them.
Yeah.
By these
We should call Justin Lin and ask him. Do you have his number?
Not yet. Not anymore. Not anymore.
Yeah, I used to listen to this podcast that talked about Star Wars movies, and the one guy, he loved the movie Solo. And he would break down all these scenes. They'll talk about the color of the scene. You see how the whole scene's like, say like a blue tint to it, so it's very melancholy, and it's like he's breaking down everything. But there's like a light shining over here into this portion of whatever, and like they really like broke down every bit of it. And I'm like, that's like, this scene is like 45 seconds long. Like I'm not.
I feel like that's what we're supposed to do with this movie.
Maybe.
But also like
this movie isn't deep enough for that. I feel like.
Right. But that stuff probably defines. You ever watch a like
Oscar-winning movie?
I'm saying, well, like a low budget movie, and you're like, you can just tell it's low budget, and you're not really sure why.
Right.
And I wonder if it's because they don't include all these subtle things that we don't normally think about, because it's adding all this like emotion into the movie, which is important because you don't have that much time to like capture. It's not like a book where they can describe all this stuff.
Yeah, you watch like movies that win like the indie film festival, and you're like,
it's so
like I don't understand anything that's happening here.
It's all that kind of stuff. Where they're like doing all these weird
camera angles and like you watch 3.5 minutes of a guy running with the camera like right at his face and you can't see anything. You're like, why do they do it this way?
When you zoom in on somebody, it's like they are approaching the camera, and when you roll the camera to them, it's like you are approaching them, like stuff like that, and then it gives you different feelings of what's happening. I don't know.
Yeah, there's definitely like I don't know how to say it. There's like a way to make a movie that's gonna have mass appeal, and like the indie films don't go for that. They go for however, like the director or the writer wants their feelings in the movie, but it's not gonna be a blockbuster because 100 million people aren't gonna like it.
Rotten Tomatoes will love it though.
yeah. That's what I'm saying about the Oscar winners. This is like, that movie I did not enjoy.
Right.
Had an audience rating of 18 and a Rotten Tomatoes score of 99. Like I don't can't understand. All right, so Brian, like we were talking about, he said we can't keep running, Dom.
Yeah,
he's gotta get out.
We have a kid. We can't live this life.
And Dom's behind bars, thinking we're trapped. There's no way to get out.
We're trapped behind these bars.
There's no way.
Maybe it's intentional. You think it is?
I don't know. I think it's just like there's two ways to look into this room. One is through the doorway. One is through the barred window.
But Dom's thinking. Was that the end?
That's it. That's minute 40.
Yeah, Brian says we got to get out now.
Yeah.
Which I thought, does that mean like escape to an island somewhere? Because they did that already.
Yeah, or come up with a plan.
And that's sort of what they're supposed to be doing here. And then they're like, well, let's steal some more cars.
Right. They were too desperate.
Yeah.
They're like, we need money. We're starving. and we just need money, and this is a quick, easy way to get money.
Where's Vince right now?
I feel like they still could have got out. They still could have got out. And now they're involved in this Reyes thing. They didn't need to be involved in that.
Yeah. Leave the GT40.
We didn't know that you guys wanted this car specifically.
Yeah.
Like, it all started with Dom's like, Mia's going to drive that. Take the other 3 cars and get your money, and just, like, they're getting themselves into this.
The train heist actually would have gone fine, right? If they hadn't got weird on them.
Yeah. Because that's when they started, like, their fighting.
They were never right
between the crew and
which slowed the robbery down.
Right.
Because they were never supposed to have the cars to begin with. They were doing the job to get paid, not to get cars. And they're like, no, we're taking the GT40. And then it's like, oh, what's on the GT40? Oh, there's a fight. And then,
right. It's Dom trying to take control.
Dom.
Freaking alpha males, you know?
Oh, man, this minute is long.
Yeah.
We should finish this up.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for listening. If you have any good dad stories, leave them in a 5-star review.
There you go.
We'd love to read them.
Or ideas of things to drink.
Yeah. We need more of those.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks for listening. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Jason.
And always remember,
winning's winning.